Hi, Miss Devereaux here, and I am going to hopefully help you get through the rest of this unit, namely how to complete and organize this paper, and show you how to work smarter, not harder, as you are going through this. So at this point, you have a thesis statement that you need to write, and you've got a prompt that is provided. You'll notice that your prompt is simply asking you to answer this question. The rest of this here is just information that you need. The question that your thesis statement needs to answer is, how have these two authors expressed their relationships with nature? The best way to go about answering this question is to use your graphic organizers. So if you haven't picked up on this yet, in English and in most classes, but definitely in English, your assignments build one off the next. So you'll notice that you had practice up here with one set of graphic organizers, and those graphic organizers work with diction, tone, and syntax. And then you'll notice you have another set of graphic organizers which also work with diction, tone, and syntax. You had the graphic organizer A, I can't remember what that worked with, but your graphic organizer A's also work with the same subject matter. So in these, we're talking about literary devices or elements that are used. And if you go and you look at your, I'm just using the Wordsworth one because it's the first one I pulled up, Wordsworth Graphic Organizer B. In here, you have diction, tone, mood, syntax, rhythm, typo on the moon there. I can't fix that. That's a Pearson created product. But these are all devices that are used, and you identify the use of these devices in both writings by both authors. So, how have these two authors expressed their relationships with nature? Your thesis statement, you cannot steal mine, but yours might go something like, both authors, you'll have to use their names, both authors used careful diction to create a positive tone to reveal their relationship about nature. Okay, so I've got two literary devices. I've got diction and I've got tone. And what that tells me in my thesis statement, what that tells all of my readers is that they can expect that as they are reading through this paper, they are going to learn about how each author used diction and tone to create something positive. Okay, you don't have to use diction and tone. Those are just the two I picked. Pick two devices that you are comfortable with discussing and put those into your thesis statement. Until those are in your thesis statement, you will not be successful with your thesis statement. It is one sentence, it is quick, it tells us what the authors did in order to convey their or express their relationship with nature. So your thesis statement answers that question. Once you've submitted your thesis statement, you will get feedback from me. Use that feedback, even if you don't have a retry, you need to go back, you need to read the feedback I left you, and then you need to use that feedback to help you make changes for your opening paragraph assignment. When I grade your opening paragraph, I am expecting to see an edited and perfected thesis statement. So, like I said, these build one off the next. You turn in a thesis statement, I give you feedback. You read that feedback, you revise your thesis statement, you put your revised thesis statement into your opening paragraph. You submit your opening paragraph assignment. I give you feedback on your opening paragraph assignment. You take that feedback, you apply those changes, and then you paste your revamped versions of your opening paragraph into your outline. So once you've got your thesis statement with two elements in it, it's going to guide the rest of your paper. There are two typical ways that you can set up this paper. Your paragraph here, you can talk about Wordsworth and how he uses each one of the devices you selected. And then you can talk about Muir and how he used each of the devices you selected. Or you can talk about one device here and how each author used it, and the other device here and how each author used it. Okay, so it's up to you. One paragraph about each author or one paragraph about each element or device. Your choice. So your topic sentence is going to say, it's going to tell your reader what it is that they are going to be encountering in the paragraph. So if you're doing a paragraph all about Wordsworth, you'll say something about Wordsworth in your topic sentence. If you are doing a paragraph all about tone, you will say something about how tone was used to create or convey a positive attitude by both authors. Your topic sentence needs to tie back to one thing in your thesis statement, and it needs to be clearly tied back. So let's say that in my topic sentence, I decide to talk about Wordsworth in this paragraph. So I'm going to need to find an example from Wordsworth's work that shows his use of diction. If I go back to my graphic organizer and I did my graphic organizer well, you are not welcome to copy the example. You need to use your own work, okay? But go back to your graphic organizer, and if you did it well, you're going to have some really solid examples of diction and explanations of how that diction helped to create positive or convey a positive relationship. So work smarter, not harder. If you weren't very successful in your graphic organizers, there's probably lots of feedback. Go look at that feedback to help you revise what you're going to do in your paper. So if I am talking about diction and how it creates a positive tone, I could take an example from his stanza, and I could say, take the fluttering and dancing in the breeze. Okay, and I'm going to copy that and I'm going to paste it here for my example. Then my explanation, I'm going to explain how certain words from my example, so diction, word choice, okay, how those words were used to create or convey a positive relationship with nature. Because I'm talking about diction, which was in my thesis statement, and a positive relationship with nature, which was also in my thesis statement. Your explanation needs to pull out some small details from your example and explain how those relate back to your thesis statement. Then my next example would be something about tone. So I can go back to my graphic organizer and I can look at tone and go, okay, so I need to talk about a positive tone because in my thesis statement, I said that they convey a positive relationship with nature. So I need to pick something out of here that seems like it conveys a positive tone, okay? And I'll talk about a crowd, a host of golden daffodils beside the lake beneath the trees. Okay, so I think that sounds positive. So I'm going to paste it here. And then in my explanation, I'm going to pick out what specifically from my example helped to create a positive tone. How did Wordsworth, the use of those words, create a positive tone? Okay, so again, I've now addressed the second element of my thesis statement and talked about how it's positive. So use your graphic organizers, use examples you've already pulled from your graphic organizers. If you look in here, when you talked about diction, you were supposed to take just little phrases and then explain how those phrases achieved something for diction, okay? So go back to those graphic organizers, use them. You're not gonna be able to just copy and paste straight from them, but you are going to be able to take a lot of ideas from them that are going to make your outline a whole lot easier. So work smarter, not harder. These all build off of each other. So once you complete your outline and you get feedback, you're going to go on to your evidence and conclusion. Go back to your outline, look over the feedback from your outline. Use that to help you with your evidence and conclusion. When you go to revision and you are going to be putting together a draft, if your outline is done well enough, you're basically going to take all the elements from your outline and add just a few bridging sentences or phrases, and you've got a paper. So the better you do, the harder you try on each assignment, the easier the next assignment becomes. And always, always, always go back and look at my feedback. Even if you don't have a retry or you're not redoing an assignment, my feedback is going to help you do better on the next assignment. Okay? Good luck.